In this video, we're going to look at a couple ways to analyze large collections of unstructured data. So I'm thinking about hundreds of emails or a really long PDF or a bunch of PDFs. So it's not tabular data. We don't exactly know what's in them, but say you've got all these documents and you really need to quickly look for a story or find something that you think might be in there. So the first thing I want to look at that could be really useful is how to compare two documents. So let's say you have two leases, one from one year and one from another year. And leases have a lot of text and you just want to see, did anything change? So you can do this in Word. You can also do it in Acrobat though if you have PDFs. And if I just go View, Compare Files, I'm going to select the two files that I want to compare, and I'll go ahead and say Compare Text Only. And Acrobat actually gives us a really nice display of this. So let's see, I can go to the first change and I can see that it used to say first day of the month and now it says third day of the month. And then it looks like this change is kind of negligible, so there's just a space inserted in there. So that's a really easy way to compare documents, really useful, especially for long documents. You could compare terms of service, anything that might change over time, and those changes might reveal something interesting. So the other thing that I want to look at is related to text mining. So text mining is a field or an area of study that basically looks at large text collections and tries to find patterns within them. And the software that I'm going to recommend for this, there are a lot, but this overviewdocs.com works fairly well for what journalists need. And I'm just going to open a data set that they've created for me. So this is a word cloud. Word clouds are not terribly useful, but this is just showing the prevalence of words in these documents. The nice thing about something like Overview is that really what this is useful for is for you to look into what's in these documents. It's not really so useful to show a reader this. I don't really care. But maybe I'm interested in, let's see, I'm interested in honoraria. I can see that there's not a lot of documents in here that talk about honoraria, but there are some. So if I double click this in Overview, I can now go to all the documents that talk about honoraria. And actually what I'm seeing here, how it's just repeated over and over again, that's telling me this is just part of the default part of these files. So if I click here and search for honoraria, I can take a look and see that I think this was just part of the default text. I'm not sure exactly where it is now, but we'll look for something more interesting. So let's see, so I can get out of here. That's word cloud. That might be interesting, it might not. A really interesting thing that Overview does is entity extraction. So entity extraction means that it's going to look for entities, so people, places, things. So I can see that, say I'm interested in anything having to do with Texas. Texas is found in 114 of the documents in this collection, and here they are, and I can get a quick look at what which ones are about Texas. You can also tag these documents, so I could tag these as Texas if I wanted, but I might also tag documents as, let's see, here's this one document, I might tag this as interesting. And if I'm a journalist, I might be going through these documents and I just want to know which ones are interesting. And then I can pull up just my interesting documents if I want to do that. Let's see, so that's entity extraction over here. And I could explore these more. Another interesting thing we have here is multi-search. So Multi-search lets me search for anything with Trump Organization, and I can then, let's say I'm interested in things involving Washington and the Trump Organization. So here I'm going to search for anything that has Trump Organization and Washington. And I can then go in here and search for Trump Organization and take a look at the page that talks about the Trump Organization. And again, I might want to tag this document, etc. All right, so that's overview. And again, this is a tool for you to use to find things in giant document dumps or giant document collections. It's not necessarily a visualization tool to show the reader or anything like that. This is about you basically reading in a way that you can't read by yourself. The last thing I want to point to is a good resource here, the URL. And this talks about two tools, one for converting into text, but the other one that's probably more interesting is where it talks about searching for patterns. So this can be really interesting if, say, you want to find all the email addresses in a document, or you want to find all of the, maybe there's a root word like petrol, and you want everything that has that root word. This would let you search a bunch of documents and find all of those places. So it's a little technical, but it's worth reading if you are interested in this sort of thing, which can be a really good tool for you to have.